It's about 9:15 on my second to last full-time day here. The plan today is I think I want to not do fine detail video manipulation work, but instead figure out some of the other modules that I want to plug in that are going to use color, because I want to try to get as much of the framework done as possible before dinner, so that after dinner I can stay in the residence hall and interacting with people in their last days. Also, for any of those few that recognize it, my drumming in the morning has recently been the old version of Flawless Flames by the Bluecoats by Roger Carter. I don't know why I got re-obsessed with it and memorized it. Well, I do know why I got re-obsessed and memorized it. It's a pretty fun thing to play and a good mental and physical warm-up. Yeah, perfect. Since the cropper lines aren't being fed through those effect parameters, you don't see artifacts from the crop as a part of the video effect. It's about 4:45. I spent the past few hours adding in the 4th B video and transforming it into color using some of those Max modules. That's what I've got. I don't love how the color fades out, so I may still tinker around a little bit with some of the settings and try to tweak it. I think I'm going to be adding in some other color elements to tease the pitch material that happens in the background during that somehow. And then after that, I predict that this is at some point going to get fairly psychedelic. Listen to that sound. I wonder what that was. That wasn't a typical plane. On Susanna's last full day, she cleaned out her studio in the morning and then did a lot of hanging out in the afternoon and in the evening before she left this morning. I just ran into Colette. I don't know if she's done any work today or not, but I caught her just taking a walk around the grounds as a one last time that she could do that sort of thing on her last day, since she's leaving tomorrow morning. For me, I'm not really sure what my plan is going to be tomorrow. I'm inclined to still do some work, but I may not. I may clean up in the morning, do a hike on the last time that I can do a hike here, and walk around the grounds, and maybe do some work in the afternoon in the residence hall as opposed to the studios, and just kind of be casual, because why not? I imagine that because my leaving is so distinct from the other people that are leaving tomorrow, and I'm leaving the next day in the morning, that my goodbye will be rather quiet. And that's okay with me. I'm recording this next morning to summarize the previous evening, and unfortunately I don't remember everything that happened, even what I had for dinner last night, because of course it's the next morning. I know that there were plantains, and I know that there was some sort of a cobbler dessert. The desserts here have been on point. Last night there was a huge crowd of people that were all hanging out in the living room for a while. People that were all saying goodbye to each other, particularly a group that I hadn't interacted with a whole bunch because they had found their niche and click, but I ended up getting into because we had planned on playing So Clover, me, Gina, Melanie, and Trelawney, and 2 other people from that other group ended up playing So Clover with us, Dan Teal and Kyle. That inserted a more mutual energy into the dynamic that was more separate. We played 3 rounds of So Clover. It was the most So Clover that we've played in a single sitting while I've been here. I already know 4 people that have either already ordered the game or intend to order the game. So I could use some kickbacks for the fact that I have helped sell your game. One other thing that really stuck out, over the past couple of nights, I've mentioned that more people have been around the fire and been as a single group than in the first part of the residency. And something that started happening in the past few days and through the past week was that there was more attempt to bring things together in more concrete ways like that, including tomorrow morning at breakfast, this morning at breakfast, as opposed to the room having the small tables and everybody being separate. There was the effort to bring all the tables together so that everybody could have breakfast together, talk within their small little groups, but be free to move around and just interact with a larger community of people. And I think that that is an interesting energy transfer. The beginning of this residency was marked with a few people that took the time at dinner to make sure that new people that had come in were introduced to the entire group. They clinked the glass, which is a thing that happens here for announcements, and they would say, we know there's some new people that came in today or came in over the weekend. Want to introduce yourself and talk about where you're from and what you do. And after those people left, that dropped off. And there wasn't that same sort of energy. The people that were new, you introduced yourselves, and everybody introduced themselves, but there wasn't this formal welcome in that sort of way. And now I feel with the new group, and with whatever energy of the 7 people that are going to be coming in tomorrow, that there's more effort to try to coalesce all of that into a single energy again. And it's not going to be the same energy as when I first got here or the energy that happened throughout, but it's going to be a new energy that's still going to be the same sort of community. And that transfer of energy and how the community evolves and morphs and changes, but still is this collective, unified community that is the VCCA, is pretty amazing to be a part of. It was a great evening, and Gina and I were talking about it, and both said the same thing, that the energy was different and very infectious. Us leaving and transferring that energy, we'll still feel that tail when we leave, and this place will still feel the tail of us when we leave. It's a little before 10 a.m. on my last full day of this residency. So the plan for the day is split into a few different parts, partially by external events. There's 2 of the writers are going to give a reading at noon in one of the studios. They're doing the reading at noon because there's a few people that are leaving today by 2 o'clock, and they wanted to make sure that they got the opportunity to hear them read. So that'll be a good break into the day. So until noon, I think my plan is to just clean up around the hut, but also start to do some more administrative Niente Forte, New Orleans personal business things, because I want to be able to have a good on-ramp back to the highway of real life. I can't believe I just said that. I want to get myself back into the mindset of having to deal with daily business. After the reading, I want to do a little bit of work, then I'll go back to the residence and start packing and getting ready for dinner, and then an evening of So Clover and socializing. Colette's studio, and she just left. This was that other composer studio that had Anne and Shannon, and nobody actually filled that during the rest of my time here. Susanna's studio, and she's now been gone since Saturday. And then over on that side, I know that Jeff took over Leslie's studio. He's gone for the weekend because his husband's father had a birthday party, so I'm not going to see him again before I leave. Now that I'm here at the studio, I just sat down. I've been sitting down for the past few minutes and find myself unmotivated to do much at the moment. I think so much of my mentality around here has been so go, 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 and focus and do things. In the past week, the energy has slowly gone back to something more relaxed. But today, I feel like I'm at the end of this marathon, and I've already finished the marathon. I've done a lot more here than I really thought I was going to. So as I sit here thinking about that, being more relaxed and unmotivated today is not a bad thing. Once I actually start drumming a little bit, get my brain a little bit more awake, I'll be ready to go. But it feels really nice right now to come into the studio here and just be, and appreciate where I am physically in the VCCA, what this journey has been like, and to appreciate where I am in my life and my career, and what this place has done to propel even more momentum in the choices that I've made. Okay, time to drum. So the readings that happened over lunch were amazing. It reminds me about the distinction that can be made between hobbyists versus professionals in any kind of field. And photography, I think, is the easy example where, because cameras became that much more accessible to everybody because it's on our phones, on our tablets, everybody can fashion themselves as some sort of amateur photographer. And there are some really good homegrown photographers out there, not to discredit that, but that for professional photographers that make this into their career have something, not just in the resources and equipment that they use, but the kind of eye that they have in order to be able to capture something that a lot of amateur photographers don't necessarily have. Listening to this reading, as well as the other readings that I've been to, both at Rapunzel's and the other one that happened at the VCCA, reminds me that writing is very similar to that. There's a lot of really good amateur writers, but the ones who are professionals, who make it their career either as craft or also as educators in English departments and universities, and the ones that really take the time to hone their craft and go through drafts and toil over each word. There's something that's very special about being in a live reading with these works, some in progress, that really evokes that same difference. Because an amateur writer, like myself, I consider myself an amateur writer, can shape certain things and evoke certain things, but I don't think that my writing really puts the reader or the listener right in the center of the universe in the way that really captures the imagination. And these writers are captivating in their content. You really feel and see and hear and smell all the senses come forward in their text, the way that they think about it, the way that they speak it, and the characters that they build are nuanced and complicated in ways, even in short readings, that remind me how wonderful and how important that sort of work is. And it's powerful and a really good way to end my time here. For the record, I never consumed the Smarties. It's a little after 4:30, and I'm just about to pack up this room as my residency comes to a close. I really enjoyed being in this space. I wish well the next person that comes after. In the event that there's somebody else that might be interested in freight train sounds and trying to capture them, hopefully it stays here and cleaning crew doesn't see it and throw it away. One last look at this place that I called my home for a month before I leave here. I didn't get to explore all the grounds or see the good luck in the real world sign or whatever that they have in the entrance that's currently closed, and some of the sculptures that I've seen so much of in my time here. Almost forgot that. That would have sucked. And one last look at the freight train tracks that is starting me down the pathway for movement 3, and a view of the VCCA barn on my exit. Thanks, VCCA. I'll miss you. Hopefully, I'll see you again in a couple of years. I just passed by an old-style Volkswagen Bug that was a dark maroon-brown color in very, very good condition, with the guy driving wearing over-the-ear Beats headphones. So given that I just left the property And this experience of the VCCA as my first ever residency is still fresh on my brain. I thought that I would offer a closing summary to this vlog series about the experience and where I go from here. And I want to start even before I arrived on the property, back to when I applied for the actual residency. Because at the time I applied, it was maybe 7 months to a year after having quit my Tulane job. And I applied on a whim. And I remember seeing the VCCA residency go by on the American Composers Forum newsletter. And I honestly almost didn't apply. I thought, I'm so early in my compositional career. I haven't produced a lot of output. There's no way that I am good enough to get into this. And then I remember getting the email saying, congratulations, you got in. And like when I first wrote The Spaces Between and gave it to the Portland Percussion Group and got feedback back from them that said, wow, we really love this piece, I didn't believe it at first. I had to read the email twice and make sure that I read it correctly. I remember primarily being in a state of shock. I felt a little bit of imposter syndrome, but I think that I was too shocked to even feel imposter syndrome. It just felt like to get this sort of opportunity so early on in my career shift was something that landed on my lap, that was right time, right circumstances, and that I was really lucky that they opted to choose me. I don't feel like that anymore because of the journey that I've gone through in this residency. I didn't have any idea what to expect. I knew that I was going to somewhere that was designed to just let me work and do my craft. But the VCCA is not the only residency that does this, but is one of the few residencies, from what I understand, that really emphasizes community as being a strong part of the experience, which is the reason why half of the residents that went through are return people. One that I met that has been to the VCCA 20 times. Multiple that had been 3 to 10 times. And I know that I am going to continue to apply and want to come back here. And that community aspect and level of support and level of inspiration that I got from just being around the people, in addition to having the space to focus on my creative craft and learn more about what sort of tools that I need to get the best work out of myself, has been transformative in my career trajectory as a composer and as a creative artist. I did particularly like the fact that there were not a lot of other composers there, that I was given the opportunity to absorb the mentality and the creative output of writers and visual artists more than others in my field. And to know that the work that I presented, both at Sweetbriar College and at the VCCA, and my overall approach to life and the way that I think and the way that I like to engage, was so inspirational to the other artists there, and vice versa, me similarly being so inspired and fueled by the creative energy and the personalities that I got to know. Words can't properly describe how meaningful that is to me, and the kind of meaningful relationships that I forged in such a short time that I know that I'm going to hold on to for the rest of my life. And know that this is the start of me really coming to who I am as a creative and further refining who I am as a person. It feels great, and I hope it is something that, in my own way, through my own creative practice in composition, in my new music advocacy, and if I ever return to any form of teaching, I hope that I'm able to continue to pay that forward and further inspire people in their own lives and in their work. Pass that spark and passion to as many people that I have the honor of getting to know and who have fallen into my orbit. So with that, I think I'm going to officially close this vlog series and this very important chapter and milestone in my creative practice. I suppose I should break the fourth wall as a content creator and say thanks to everybody who has been on this journey with me, who has watched my videos, have subscribed to this channel, have subscribed to my other channels. I, of course, welcome any feedback and comments and questions. And I will see you around for whatever next vlogging adventure comes next.